So let's talk about child custody, child visitation, and child support in California. Come with me and I'll give you some insight and secrets. One of the biggest topics in a family law courtroom is child custody and child visitation, and of course, child support. In family law matters, it's been my experience that there is no issue that raises more emotional impacts on people than child custody, child visitation, and child support. And for better or worse, in California right now, those three things are tied together. Let me tell you how. When a person has more custody and visitation, the amount of support he or she pays goes down. So let me give you an example. If the mother has custody, the more visitation the father has, the less child support he's going to pay. That's the general rule. There may be exceptions, but that's the general rule. So you get a lot of cases where the mother is trying to fight that the father have less visitation if the mother is the custodial parent, and where the father is trying to fight for more visitation. Now, some people say, I'm doing that because these are my children and I love them. And sometimes you might get the feeling that they're doing that because they don't want to pay as much money for support. You never know what people's motivations are, but custody, visitation, and support are tied together. I want to tell you a story about a child custody and visitation and support case I did a few years ago. I represented a fireman here in Southern California, and he had a long-term marriage with a woman, and they had 2 children. And he was going back and forth about whether he should get divorced or not divorced. And he told me that he didn't believe that the judge would order him to pay the amount of child support which I computed that he would have to pay. And at his hearing, he wore his dress fireman's uniform, which, by the way, the judge wasn't very happy with. It was, shortly after 9/11, and I think the judge thought that as a first responder, he was trying to get sympathy from the judge for wearing the uniform. But the funny story happened before our case was called before the judge. My client and I were sitting on some benches in the courtroom looking at the case in front of us, and my client was sitting on the end of the bench, and we were just waiting for the case in front of us to be finished. Well, the case in front of us was a case where the husband was a doctor, a medical doctor, and the wife was a stay-at-home mom. The judge ended up making an order that the doctor pay the wife about $25,000 a month. When the judge made that decision and announced it in court, my client literally fell off the bench onto the floor. And I helped him up and we went outside, and I said to him, "What's wrong?" He says, "I can't believe what happened to that doctor." And I told him, I said, "Look, child support in California is now basically a mathematical formula." I said, "I told you what your mathematical formula was going to come out to, and you thought the judge wouldn't do that because the judge would feel sorry for you because he's a man and you're a man." I said, "Now you see that that's not accurate." He asked me to go get the attorney for the mother, and we settled on an amount that was less than what I thought the judge was going to order, but he came way up on the amount that he was willing to pay because he saw what happened to the doctor in the case right before him. Custody, visitation, and support all tied together. The test for custody and visitation is the best interest of the children. And what does that mean? Well, if you have about 3 hours, we can talk about that one day. It's a very complicated issue. The next email you're going to receive is going to have a video about family law and divorce mediation in California. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-888-6582 or visit us on the web and get a free copy of my book, Surviving Divorce in California.
For your free consultation, call the law offices of Vincent W. Davis and Associates today. 1-888-888-6582. That's 1-888-888-6582. Thank you for watching.